Allis Chalmers was once a giant in the tractor world. Their machines were tough, innovative, and decades ahead of their time. But not every Allis tractor got the spotlight it deserved. While models like the WD45 and D21 became legends, dozens of others were quietly forgotten despite their brilliance. Today, we're uncovering 10 forgotten Allis Chalmers tractors that deserve respect. From the quirky rear-engine Model G to the groundbreaking turbocharged D19, these tractors changed farming in ways history often ignores. Stick around because some of these hidden gems might just surprise you. Number 1. Allis Chalmers Model WF. The Model WF was one of the most practical tractors Allis Chalmers ever built, though it rarely gets mentioned today. Introduced in 1937, the WF was essentially a standard tread version of the WC, aimed at general farmers rather than row crop specialists. While the WC gained fame as one of the most popular tractors of its time, the WF quietly filled a different role. Powered by a 4-cylinder engine producing about 24 horsepower, the WF wasn't flashy, but it was rugged and reliable. Its wide, stable stance made it safer on uneven ground compared to narrow front row crop tractors. That stability made it popular with dairy, hay, and mixed crop farmers who valued safety and balance over row crop clearance. It was also a solid performer on belt-driven equipment, powering threshers, saws, and corn shellers with consistency. What set the WF apart was its versatility. Unlike row crop machines that excelled in one area but compromised in others, the WF could plow, mow, cultivate, and haul without complaint. Its simplicity meant that parts were interchangeable with the WC, and maintenance could be done with basic tools. So why did it fade into obscurity? The WF was overshadowed by its sibling, the WC, which became a bestseller. Later models like the WD and WD45 captured even more attention with higher horsepower and flashy features. As a result, the WF became a footnote, even though it served thousands of farms faithfully. Collectors today prize the WF because fewer were sold compared to the WC, making surviving models rarer. While it never made headlines, the WF deserves respect as a dependable, all-purpose tractor that kept countless smaller farms running smoothly for over a decade. Number 2. Allis Chalmers Model RC. The Model RC was an unusual experiment by Allis Chalmers, a tractor that combined parts from two different machines to create an affordable row crop solution. Produced between 1938 and 1941, the RC used the engine from the small Model B but paired it with the chassis and transmission from the larger WC. This hybrid approach created a lightweight row crop tractor with around 16 horsepower. The goal of the RC was clear: affordability. During the late 1930s, many farmers were still hesitant to leave horses behind. The RC gave them an inexpensive entry point into mechanization, with a tractor that could cultivate, plow small fields, and handle belt-driven tasks. The RC's design showed clever resourcefulness. By reusing components from existing models, Allis Chalmers kept costs down without designing an entirely new tractor from scratch. For farmers, this meant they could own a machine that was rugged and dependable, but not as costly as the larger WC. The RC also had a role in introducing more families to tractors. Small-scale farmers and vegetable growers often found it the perfect size for their operations. Its light weight made it less damaging on soft soils, and it was maneuverable in tighter fields. Why forgotten? The RC's production run was short, cut off by World War II, with steel shortages and factories redirected to war production. Allis Chalmers dropped lower priority models. After the war, the market had changed, and tractors like the Model C replaced the RC's niche. Fewer than 5,000 RCs were built, making it rare today. The RC deserves respect for being a bridge for small farmers into the age of tractors. It wasn't flashy, but it was a clever, affordable, and practical machine that met the needs of the time. A true unsung hero in Allis Chalmers history. Number 3. Allis Chalmers Model IB. The Allis Chalmers Model IB is a tractor that hardly ever appears in farm history books. Yet it had an important role outside the fields. Introduced in 1939, the IB was an industrial version of the popular Model B, adapted for work in municipalities, factories, and other non-farm environments. The IB shared the same four-cylinder engine as the Model B, producing around 20 horsepower. But instead of row-crop tires and lightweight frames, it had a heavier chassis, lower stance, and industrial tires suited for pavement and hard surfaces. It was often fitted with attachments like mowers, loaders, and utility implements, making it useful in airports, factories, and city parks. Its design highlighted Allis Chalmers' versatility as a manufacturer. While Deere and IH were heavily focused on agriculture, Allis recognized there was a growing market for industrial tractors. Cities needed machines to mow grass, maintain airfields, and move materials. The IB was tough enough for continuous use, and its simplicity made it easy for municipal crews to maintain. The IB deserves respect because it was ahead of its time. Today, we take compact industrial tractors for granted, but in the 1940s and 50s, this was a forward-thinking idea. It proved that tractors could have roles beyond the farm, opening doors for the modern compact and industrial tractor markets. Why is it forgotten? Simply because it wasn't a farm tractor. Farmers rarely saw it, and collectors often focus on row crop or field machines. Yet countless IBs served quietly in public works, schools, and factories, contributing just as much to productivity as their field-working cousins. The IB may not have turned soil, but it deserves respect as one of the first true utility tractors, showing how Allis Chalmers looked beyond traditional agriculture to meet broader needs. Number 4. Allis Chalmers Model CA. The Allis Chalmers Model CA, produced from 1950 to 1958, was one of the company's most versatile mid-size tractors. It followed in the footsteps of the popular Model C, but came with significant upgrades that made it more powerful, practical, and efficient for everyday farm work. At its heart, the CA featured a four-cylinder engine producing around 23 horsepower, not massive, but a sweet spot for small and medium-sized farms. It could handle 2 plows, pull wagons, and still be nimble enough for cultivating row crops. Its size made it especially popular with dairy farmers and diversified operations where flexibility mattered more than raw power. One of the CA's most notable improvements was its live hydraulics, which gave operators much better control of mounted implements. This was a big step up from earlier systems that required stopping the tractor to make adjustments. The CA also introduced the snap coupler hitch system, Allis Chalmers' innovative answer to Ferguson's 3-point hitch. This design allowed farmers to quickly attach and detach implements with ease, saving valuable time during busy seasons. The CA's reliability and affordability earned it respect from farmers, but it was often overshadowed by the more powerful WD and WD45 models. These bigger brothers captured attention in the horsepower race of the 1950s, while the CA quietly served farmers who didn't need a high-horsepower machine. Why forgotten? Because it lacked the drama of higher horsepower tractors and wasn't revolutionary enough to stand out in the history books. Yet for thousands of farmers, the CA was the tractor that did it all, from plowing fields to raking hay to hauling wagons. The Model CA deserves respect as a practical, well-balanced workhorse. It brought modern features to smaller farms, bridging the gap between early post-war machines and the advanced D series of the late 1950s. Number 5. Allis Chalmers D17 Series. The D17, first introduced in 1957, was a tractor that truly demonstrated Allis Chalmers' engineering strength. It offered between 52 and 63 horsepower depending on the version, making it powerful enough for big field work yet versatile enough for mixed farming. For many, it was the perfect balance between size, strength, and efficiency. What set the D17 apart was its power director transmission, which allowed farmers to shift between high and low ranges on the move without using the clutch. This innovation gave operators flexibility in changing conditions. For example, when pulling through heavy soil, they could quickly drop to a lower range without stopping. Combined with a fully independent PTO, the D17 offered control and convenience that few competitors matched. Farmers appreciated the D17 for its ability to handle a wide range of tasks. It could plow large acreages, run ballers, or haul heavy loads. At the same time, its operator platform was more comfortable and thoughtfully arranged than earlier models, reflecting the growing attention to farmer comfort during long workdays. Despite these strengths, the D17 doesn't get the recognition it deserves. Deere's 4010 and 4020 became icons of the horsepower race, while International Harvester's 560 dominated headlines, both positively and negatively. The D17, by contrast, quietly built a reputation for reliability without ever gaining legend status. Why forgotten? The D17 was overshadowed by its successors in the Allis Chalmers D Series, particularly the larger D19 and D21. But make no mistake, the D17 was one of the most dependable and innovative tractors of its time. It deserves respect as a well-rounded, farmer-friendly tractor that brought Allis Chalmers innovation to the mid-size category, proving that brilliance doesn't always need the biggest engine. Number 6. Allis Chalmers Model G. The Allis Chalmers Model G stands out as one of the most unusual tractors ever produced. Built between 1948 and 1955, the G was unlike any other tractor of its time, designed specifically for small farms, vegetable growers, and market gardeners. Its most distinctive feature was its rear-mounted engine. Unlike conventional tractors where the engine sits in front of the operator, the Model G's 4-cylinder, 10-horsepower Continental engine was placed at the back. This left the front of the tractor open, with implements mounted underneath. The result? Farmers had a clear, unobstructed view of their work, making cultivation and planting far more precise. The Model G was lightweight and highly maneuverable. It could cultivate narrow rows, plant vegetables, and perform other small acreage tasks with efficiency. For truck farmers, orchard growers, and gardeners, it was a revolutionary idea. It replaced horse-drawn equipment on many small farms and dramatically reduced labor. However, the G's brilliance was also its downfall. It was too specialized. While perfect for small-scale operations, it wasn't powerful enough for general farming tasks like plowing larger fields or hauling heavy loads. As small vegetable farms declined in the 1950s and agriculture consolidated into larger operations, the G's niche market shrank rapidly. Fewer than 30,000 were built before production ended in 1955. The Model G deserves respect for its innovative design and its role in mechanizing small-scale vegetable farming. Today, it enjoys a cult following among collectors and hobby farmers who appreciate its unique look and specialized capabilities. It may have been forgotten by mainstream history, but for the farmers it served, the Model G was nothing short of brilliant. Number 7. Allis Chalmers D19. The Allis Chalmers D19, produced between 1961 and 1964, deserves a place in tractor history for one simple reason. It was the first mass-produced American tractor to feature a turbocharged diesel engine. This was a revolutionary step at a time when most competitors were still relying on naturally aspirated engines. The turbocharged version of the D19 delivered nearly 80 horsepower, making it one of the most powerful row crop tractors of its time. The turbocharger gave it not just more raw horsepower, but also improved torque and efficiency, allowing it to pull heavier implements without burning excessive fuel. This innovation set the stage for turbocharging to become standard across the industry in later decades. The D19 was offered in multiple fuel versions: gasoline, LP gas, and diesel. Its power director transmission allowed operators to shift between high and low ranges without clutching, giving flexibility in changing conditions. Farmers appreciated its strength in heavy tillage, its dependability in daily chores, and its modern features like live PTO. So why is the D19 forgotten? Timing. It was introduced just as John Deere's 4010 was transforming the tractor market. Deere's new generation machines were marketed heavily and quickly stole the spotlight. The D19, while technically impressive, was overshadowed in sales and popularity. Additionally, the D19 had a short production run, lasting only a few years before Allis Chalmers moved on to the larger and more powerful D21. That brevity ensured that it never built the same reputation as longer-lived models. The D19 deserves respect not only for its performance, but for its pioneering role in tractor engineering. It introduced turbocharging to American farms, a technology that reshaped farming for decades. While it may be overlooked today, it was a true trailblazer. Number 8. Allis Chalmers Model ED40. The Allis Chalmers ED40 was a little-known model built primarily for the European market during the mid-1960s. While Allis Chalmers was strong in the US, it also wanted to expand internationally, and the ED40 represented one of its efforts to serve smaller European farms. Powered by a Perkins 4-cylinder diesel engine, the ED40 delivered around 40 horsepower. That may sound modest, but in Europe, where farms were typically smaller and tractors were used for mixed tasks, it was exactly the right size. The Perkins diesel was fuel-efficient, reliable, and easy to maintain, a crucial trait for farmers who often worked with limited resources. The ED40 was equipped with live hydraulics and a dependable transmission, making it versatile for plowing, mowing, and loader work. Its compact size and tight turning radius made it ideal for dairy farms, orchards, and hilly terrain, where larger tractors were impractical. The ED40 deserves respect because it showed Allis Chalmers' global vision. Rather than forcing European farmers to adapt to American-sized tractors, it built something tailored to their needs. It proved that Allis understood the importance of adapting designs to different markets. Why forgotten? Simply because it wasn't widely sold in the US, and American collectors tend to overlook export models. In Europe, it faced stiff competition from Massey Ferguson and Ford, both of which dominated the utility tractor segment. As a result, the ED40 never made a major impact on global tractor history. Still, for the farmers who used it, the ED40 was a dependable partner that handled the daily grind with efficiency. It deserves respect as an example of Allis Chalmers thinking beyond its home market, even if it never became famous. Number 9. Allis Chalmers Model 220. The Allis Chalmers 220, produced between 1969 and 1973, was one of the company's most powerful tractors of the late 1960s. Built on the platform of the D21, the 220 delivered around 117 horsepower from a 6-cylinder diesel engine, making it a serious machine for big farms that needed to cover lots of acres quickly. The 220 had the muscle to pull large plows, heavy tillage tools, and big planters. Farmers praised its strong rear end, good balance, and durability in tough conditions. Like other Allis models of the era, it also featured the power director transmission, giving operators flexibility in the field. In many ways, the 220 represented Allis Chalmers' determination to compete in the horsepower race of the late 1960s and early 70s. It was a no-nonsense workhorse designed to match Deere's 4520 or IH's 1456. For the farmers who owned one, it was dependable and capable of handling serious workloads. So why is it forgotten? For starters, it had a short production run and was built in relatively small numbers. Deere and IH dominated the high-horsepower market with bigger dealer networks and stronger marketing. The 220 never sold in large quantities, which meant it didn't leave the same cultural footprint. Additionally, the 220 lacked the flash of groundbreaking features. While solid, it wasn't a technological leap forward like the turbocharged D19. It was simply a very capable big tractor that did its job without drawing attention. The 220 deserves respect because it was one of Allis Chalmers' true heavyweights during a critical era. It showed that Allis could build big iron to stand with the giants, even if history doesn't give it the recognition it deserves today. Number 10. Allis Chalmers Model 6060. The Allis Chalmers 6060, introduced in the mid-1970s, was part of the company's 6000 series. At around 70 horsepower, it was aimed squarely at medium-sized farms that needed a tractor versatile enough to handle fieldwork, haying, and loader duties without stepping into the heavyweight category. The 6060 was powered by a Perkins 4-cylinder diesel engine, well known for its reliability and fuel efficiency. This engine gave the tractor excellent torque for its size, making it capable of pulling 3 or 4 bottom plows while still being light enough for lighter chores. The Perkins design also made the 6060 relatively easy to service, which was important during the challenging farm economy of the 1970s and 80s. Comfort was another strength of the 6060. It featured an ergonomic operator station, improved hydraulics, and could be fitted with a cab that offered protection from weather, a feature increasingly important as farms became more mechanized and days in the field grew longer. Its independent PTO and strong hydraulic capacity made it useful with balers, mowers, and other implements, while its balanced size meant it was equally at home in hayfields, on livestock farms, or doing loader work. Despite its dependability, the 6060 is often overlooked. Why? Timing and competition. By the late 1970s, John Deere, Ford, and IH were dominating the utility tractor segment with larger dealer networks and aggressive marketing. At the same time, the farm crisis of the 1980s meant many farmers avoided buying new equipment altogether, hitting Allis Chalmers especially hard. The 6060 deserves respect as a tough, dependable tractor that quietly served through a difficult period in farming. It wasn't flashy, but it represented the resilience of Allis Chalmers, proving the company could still build reliable machines even as financial pressures mounted. So there you have it, 10 forgotten Allis Chalmers tractors that deserve respect. Some were overshadowed by bigger machines, some were ahead of their time, and some were simply lost in the shuffle of history. But each one proves that Allis Chalmers was more than just a competitor, it was an innovator. Which of these tractors do you think was the most underrated? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into tractor history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon, because there are plenty more forgotten machines with stories waiting to be told. Until next time, keep the engines running and the history alive.